Welcome to Master the Science of Business live show. Mind and Money Matters live show. This is our 32nd episode of our fourth year. You don't hear me? Let's see. And I'm not being heard. So, at some point, Okay. Uh, they can hear you. Welcome to Money Matters Live Show. Master the Science of Business, representing the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. We are in our 32nd week of our 4th year, and we are ready to rock and roll. We are excited to bring to you the science of business from those who are doing business, from those who are practicing, who are learning, who are engaged, who can share with us that wisdom so that we can avoid the pitfalls and benefit from the wisdom of their success. And I am going to bring up, I am Sister Shireen Muhammad, one of the co-hosts, along with Brother Jaheem, Mr. Communicator Muhammad, and Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad of Soul Wisdom International. And we have our dear Brother Jaheem, Mr. Communicator Muhammad. He is the founder and CEO of Falal Worldwide Seminars and Training and Proper Propaganda Promotions, and the president of Master the Science of Business Entities Incorporated. Let's welcome our dear brother Jaheem, Mr. Communicator Muhammad, with the Falal Worldwide Word on the Block.
I am? Oh, I didn't know that. Assalamu alaikum, business scientists.
He signed the
That,
paperwork, y'all.
I get a new title every week. Welcome back to another episode of Mind and Money Matters Live Show, the definitive podcast for Black business bodaciousness. I know a couple of y'all like that. Brother Shantain in Jackson, Mississippi, he gave me the thumbs up. He laughed about it. Yes, we are bodacious. We're here to share with you the brilliance among us from business owners from across the world. And a lot of the people are in areas that you are specializing in or that you are working out in. So we want to give you a glimpse into those who are doing the things in life that we all are pursuing to do. That's run a business, take care of our family, build a nation, and all of those good things. So starting out as we always do, real quick, so we can bring on our illustrious guest for this evening, the final call. The final call. You must get your latest issue of the Final Call newspaper. There are several ways that you can do this. You can go to your local Muhammad Mosque. Your local Muhammad Mosque, there is one in practically every city in North America. If you do not have one, or you don't know where it is, you can um, go to the nation, NOI.org, and you can find that, or give us a call at the office, 404-438-3156, and we will help you find that Nation of Islam mosque in your area across North America, Europe, South America, and Africa. If you're in any one of those places, basically all over the planet Earth. Here in Atlanta, 3642 Campbellton Road is the headquarters of the Southern region of the Nation of Islam. You can stop by there at any time and pick up your latest issue of the Final Call newspaper, or any of the past issues of the Final Call newspaper. And there are a plethora of FOI and MGT spread it out across the region who will be honored to get you your Final Call newspaper. Why do you want this? This has the latest information. It has information, news uh, segments that you will not find in mainstream media, or give you a perspective that mainstream media will not give you. And it's totally 100% supported and owned by us. As you will notice in the Final Call, there are no advertisements from your groceries, your local big box stores, or any of those major organizations, so they can't tell us what to put in the paper. And I want to give a quick kudos to a longtime friend of mine, the Money Matters Live Show, and she was a recent guest, Sister Dr. Khalila Muhammad. She has a wonderful article in this latest issue on page 17 about her mentor, Dr. Toni Morrison, who made her transition a couple of weeks ago. So, Final Call Newspaper. Oh, you also had a digital platform. So, those of you who are more astute to pulling up information on your tablet, your computer, your cell phone, you can go to finalcalldigital.com. finalcalldigital.com. And we have a special treat for you this evening along that finalcalldigital.com segment. So I will defer that to later on. Economicblueprint.org. Economicblueprint.org. Sister Shireen, I saw a quote today online on social media. I was giving credit to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad from Message to the Black Man. I have not gone to pinpoint exactly where it is in Message to the Black Man, but we're going to find that. But the quote says from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we cannot compete in business unless we unite and get some of this earth so that we can produce our own people's need. Let me repeat that from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We cannot compete in business unless we unite, number one, and get some of this earth so that we can produce our own people's needs. That's all we got to say. 5 cents a day, 35 cents a week, $1.40 a month, $18.20 a year. So you and I pool our resources, unite, and get some of this earth so that we can begin to produce the needs that our people have. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal and right on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right on point. I had not seen that quote before, but so okay, I'll be repeating that a lot. Now, take out your pens and pads, your paper. Please hit that share button if you're watching us via the YouTube, or if you're via the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Our goal is to have 1,000 subscriptions by September the 13th, 2019. That's less than a month away. We want to be at 1,000 subscribers by that time. So please share this podcast with all that you know in your circle. Thank you, Brother Solomon. I see he subscribed earlier, and several other people have subscribed. Thank you all so much for your support. So we have several activities that Master Science of Business partners are involved in coming up. So we want you to put this in your calendar, mark your calendars. This weekend, we have the Inner City Football Classic, the 8th annual Inner City Football Classic that's produced by the Winning Circle. The 8th annual Inner City Football Classic this Saturday from 9 o'clock a.m. The last game starts at 7 o'clock p.m. And it's several youth teams, with the culminating event being at 7 o'clock is I'm trying to guess it, and I got the flyer right here. The culminating event is what's the team is it? The Hateville Hornets of Fulton County versus the Cedar Grove Saints of DeKalb County. That's the culminating event, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. But we have games going on throughout the day, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. That will be at the Buck Godfrey Stadium. For those of you from the east side of Atlanta, you know that's the former Panthersville Stadium on Panthersville Road. Or the official address is 2817 Clifton Springs Road, Decatur, Georgia. That's the 8th annual Inner City Classic football game. Please come out and join us. We will be there for that auspicious event produced by the Winning Circle. Also, mark your calendars for September the 28th. Saturday, September the 28th, we're shutting down downtown Lithonia for the first annual Black Dot Cultural Arts Festival. So all of you who are listening and you're in and you produce some type of arts, you're a children's book writer, you make jewelry, you paint, any of those other crafts that we have that's among us, and you're interested in vending at this event, only thing you have to do is text 404-519-8107. Text 404-519-8107. Text your name, your email address, and make sure you mention in there that you heard it at Mind Money Show. That may get you some additional perks that the other folk who sign up may not get. But just mention, name drop. Do some name dropping. Say, I heard it on My Money Show. And when you send your text message, and the producers will call you back and give you the information. Also, mark your calendars starting now. Sisters, this is an event that you definitely want to be a participate in. And brothers, you have women in your life that you want to see and help them go to that next level in their growth. The first annual Inner Chambers Retreat, the first annual Inner Chambers Retreat. You can go, that'll be May the 8th through the 10th, 2020. May 8th through the 10th, 2020. You'll go to Inner Chambers Retreat .eventbrite.com. That's INNERCHAMBERSRETREAT. I think Sister Shireen just pulled it up. Inner Chambers retreat.eventbrite.com for more information. And there'll be more specific information coming out about that fantastic event. Sister Shireen, I know, is a presenter. Is one of the presenters at that event, and it's a production by our very own Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad. And also remember the book of the month. The book of the month from Mind and Money Matters live show. The book of the month. Let me go back, make sure I got everything. Okay. The book of the month from Mind Money Matters live show is Developing a Business Mindset. Developing a Business Mindset. Developing a Business Mindset by our very own Shireen A. Muhammad. And you can get your copy of that book by Cash Apping. Send your Cash App payment of only $10 to money $master business $master business a contribution of only $10 to receive your copy of the book Developing a Business Mindset by our very own Sister Shireen A. Muhammad. And I left that one for last as I segue into come out of my segment. Thank you all for enduring with us with the plethora of activities that we're involved in. Hopefully, we'll see you at some of these auspicious events. But I'm honored to bring up our engineer of Mind and Money Matters live show, our educator in the group, our creative in the group, and I got a new word for her. She is in addition to being an educator, a mother, a friend, a sister, all of those attributes. She's also our resident raconteur. Our resident raconteur. So she has a plethora of information, but raconteur, just to ease your mind, it's a storyteller. She's a dynamic storyteller, and all of those who have invested in her first book, the Why I Wear My Headpiece, you know that she has a magnificent way of telling a story, make you feel like you were right there in in the early years when she's as a little girl standing on the little stool and peeking out the window, peeking out the peephole in the apartment building that she grew up in, looking out the door and seeing what a 2-year-old eyes were witnessing. But you got to buy the book. Anyway, please welcome my co-host, my business partner, and our raconteur, Sister Shireen A. Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Praise is due to Allah. Brother Jahi, he is he is our very own logo file. So he comes up with all those words. I'm going to share with you the flyers that he mentioned. One of them being the Inner City Classic. That's this weekend on the 24th. Kickoff time is 9 a.m. Those of you who have young children who love football, they have several different age groups that are playing from 9 a.m. to, it probably won't end to 9 p.m. You don't have to stay for the whole time, obviously. But the main event is the Decatur Army with the, I think it is the Milford Warriors. That's the main event. And then there is this workshop with this is the Community Fiber Optics Workshop, Flight Simulator and Drone Flying Workshop. That's August 23rd. So that's coming up this weekend as well. And that's from 1 to 6. It's just a $10 donation. And I don't know if you can see the address, but it's 2719 Delow Drive, East Point, Georgia. For more information, 404-514-7816. This is being put on by the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Millennium Training and Technology Incorporated, and Global Apprentice. If you have any young or, really doesn't matter, if you're willing to work and you looking for some opportunities, Global Apprentice can assist you. If you have a business and you need assistance, technical assistance, receptionist assistance, clerical assistance, webmasters, you name it, they have it. Business planning, event planning, any of those things that a small business may need assistance with, Global Apprentice is your place. If you have a skill, if you have a business that services small businesses, Global Apprentice can assist you with that. And we have our special guest co-host who will come on the line and share more information about that. With myself, of course, Brother Jahi mentioned Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad's event that's coming up in 2020. It is scheduled for May 8th, 2020, and through Sunday, May 10th. So we just want to make sure that you are aware of all the different activities that they're going to have. It's just awesome for us to participate in these types of things that's dealing with mind, body, and soul cleansing and renewing and restoring and all of those things. It is a weekend event, absolutely phenomenal, being put on by Soul Wisdom International. And then there's Focus on the Children. Focus on the Children. They will learn and grow to elevate excellence. And that's what Focus on the Children is all about, is building self-esteem. It's encouraging cooperative economics, pooling resources, children learning to work together. One of the things that children have to learn is learn to share, right? And it's very challenging for them when they've been alone in the womb for the most part, unless they're twins or multiple in the womb. For the most part, they are in there by themselves. So they come out in the world used to being alone, and then they have to learn how to share. And so some of that is discussed in these books, dealing with young people working on a farm. And then there's why I wear my headpiece. So without further ado, we're going to bring up our special guest co-host on, Brother Jahi.
I saw him in the queue.
Okay, so we'll bring
Yes.
him in.
We are honored to have from the Ministry of Science and Technology, the coordinator for that ministry here in Atlanta. He's a businessman, and I'm especially happy because I had the chance to see him grow up. I think he was probably, when I first met him, he's probably 6 or 7 years old, maybe.
Wow.
Probably younger than to start to see him grow up to be, a young man,
right?
Who is a businessman, a student, and a leader. He's taking several leadership roles in his nation. So it's always a pleasure when I ask him to join us, and he's been a guest before. So he graciously accepted. So from Global Apprenticeship, welcome, Brother Rasool Muhammad. Salaam Alaikum, sir.
We can barely
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes, sir.
All right, how y'all doing tonight, family? Wa alaikum salam.
Oh, praises due to Allah. Everybody, we're fine. How about yourself? Look like you had a productive day. What you put on the books, about 1.5 million, 1.6, 1.7?
Something like that.
It's 1.7 in the making.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely.
And on to the next one. On to the next major business deal. Now, Brother Rasool, you are the coordinator for the Ministry of Science and Technology in Atlanta. And Sister Shireen and I and Sister Sandy, we are the coordinators with the Ministry of Trade and Commerce here in Atlanta. So we are always eager and privileged to work with other ministries. Now, we see you have an event that's coming up this weekend. You mind giving the listening audience some more information about the event that's being sponsored by your company, Global Apprenticeship, as well as the Ministry of Science and Technology?
Yes, yes, thank you. So for the Ministry of Science and Technology in Atlanta right now, the region, the
You
main
are
focus
really low.
currently, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me better now? I'm
No,
on this
sir.
headpiece. I'm on this
Okay,
headpiece.
we heard you better without the headpiece before, I think.
Okay, well, I'm driving, so
No,
I'm gonna
that's
try.
right there, right there, right there, right there, right
This is
there.
good. Okay,
That's it, right there.
okay, good. So currently, we are focused on of course, solar, also fiber optics and aviation. Um, Fields that are innovative as well as fields that can also help individuals get more funds in their pocket. This particular event this weekend is focused on the fiber optics installers and trainers, those that can basically pull data cable. You can teach a young man how to do this, and by the time he finishes high school, he could be making anywhere from $13 to $15 an hour with no certification. And without a certification, he can make anywhere from, I mean, with the certification, you can make anywhere from 18 and up with the certification in fiber optics installer. But this is a crash course where if you are an adult, 18 and up, looking to work, you can come here, get this crash course, and potentially start work within the next week or so. Um, Working with in a contract with companies such as Lockheed Martin and others. So this is something for the youth and for adults as well.
Fantastic. You
Yes.
know, as you were relaying that information, Brother Rasul, and I thought about something that was shared with us, Sister Shireen, when we interviewed Mr. Maceo Brown, the founder of System 5 Electronics.
Mm-hmm.
The interview, we will be showing that interview this month. It's going to be a special broadcast, and we will let you all know when we're going to do that. We're going to show it on the platform on YouTube as well as do a Facebook Live of that dynamic interview. But what Mr. Brown said, he is an electrician by training. And he said, the quote exactly was, you can become rich by learning a trade. That's what he said. And he is a multimillionaire.
That's
He
right.
said, you can become rich by learning a trade. So those who are listening and you heard the offer about learning the fiber optics and the other skills that Global Apprenticeship is offering, that gets your foot in the door. That gets you started. Once you get in the industry, you begin to see other opportunities. That's what happened with Mr. Brown. He became an electrician by going to the Brotherhood, the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Learned to become an electrician. Then he heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, "Do for
Exactly.
self," and he quit and started his
Right.
own business. And he's a multi-millionaire today because he learned a trade. That's my point. So thank you, Brother Rasul, for sharing that information. And for those of you who are listening, please spread this podcast, hit the share button, let others know. You may not be interested, but guess what? Your neighbor is looking for an opportunity. Your cousin is looking for an opportunity. Your niece is looking for an opportunity. You know, they
Yes.
just graduated or they're about to graduate. They don't know what they're going to do. How beautiful will it be if they've had a skill as they go off to college? That way
And I
they won't have to worry about working. They can do that skill and make money. Yes, Brother Russell.
Yeah, I do want to share that that is actually a donation. So we are not asking for you to pay $10 per person. This is a donation. Whatever God puts in your heart to give, it's welcome. You don't have to pay $10 to come to this event. This is a free event. We just ask for donation to help defray certain costs for putting this on. And in addition to that, I also wanted to share that we are also looking for landowners currently currently in Georgia, also North Jersey. Solar is something that's actually started a project with a solar company out of Canada who's looking for landowners so we can actually place solar farms on their fields as long as they have at least 10 acres or more. A solar farm can be set up as a land lease, and these landowners will be paid for the use of their land. And it's a very lucrative industry right now. And it's something that I believe will be excellent for, of course, Black farmers who might be struggling, or you have a lot of people who have land that is donated, or even they inherit land and don't know what to do with it. But there's a way for you to be making money from that land right now.
Fantastic.
Off of solar energy.
Fantastic.
Yes, off of solar farming. And I don't know if you guys have been down south, but in the south you can drive down through, and Georgia Power currently right now is buying up a lot of land and building large solar farms, just collecting sunlight. They still sell it to us for the same price, So wouldn't you like to get some of that back on some of your own land with some solar farms on it?
Explain to us how that actually works. So they charge up the solar panels and then sell them. Is that what happens?
No. So the way it works, the solar panels are out, and with the company that we currently is partnered with, they would come out, assess the land, and actually set up the solar farm itself after an agreement is put in place. And the solar energy is collected and stored, then sold back to the state government, local governments, or Georgia Power, if you will. And because of the land that is being used, if it's your land, then they're willing to pay a certain amount for a land lease that you would get on a monthly or annual basis. And that's at no cost to the landowner, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, there goes to show you there's several ways for us to make money.
Opportunities. So
right.
You have that land, that 10 plus acres of land, you too can have solar panels on your property collecting solar energy. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
About that, if you have anyone that contacts you interested, looking for more information, we have information that we can share, and we can get that going. Even just to assess, to figure out if it's if it's something that's feasible for the company and for the state, there's still a fee paid for that. So typically for a solar farm, depending on the area, whether it's Georgia or up north, for some reason the south, it's a little bit less, but it adds up, especially when you're talking about per acre. But typically it's anywhere from $150 to $1,500 per acre annual that's paid out for land leases. So, and there are a lot of different organizations doing that now. A lot of different farms, currently housing solar farms for to collect that energy. And so we always typically the ones finding out about these things on the back end, but this is an opportunity to go ahead and jump on board.
And how do they contact you, Brother Rasool?
You can contact me on at the website or by email, rasool@globalapprenticeship.org or info@globalapprenticeship.org. If you don't mind placing that on the site so they can see it. My phone number is also, you can reach me by my phone number as well, but it's best to reach me via email.
Okay, fantastic. So those of you, if you have 10 plus acres of land just sitting around somewhere, grandmama left you all that land down in South Georgia, and you're not doing anything with it, now you can make a couple of dollars with the land. Make some money. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Brother Rasool, if you're able to stick with us, we hope as we bring up our first guest for tonight, definitely would like your participation in it, because I know you will definitely have a lot of questions for our guest. I am honored that when I reached out to him, he graciously accepted to be a guest on Mind and Money Matters live show this month, the month of August. We're highlighting the Ministry of Science and Technology. And one of the things that we always talk about on this program, on this podcast, is the interconnectivity of the 9 ministries that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan advanced to us in 2005 at the Millions More movement. This is our structure to set up the government that we need to govern our daily
Yes.
lives, our daily activities, to set up that world of righteousness. And all of these ministries, there's some connectivity. So I reached out to our guest this evening, and he is actually a part of the Ministry of Information. But as we all know, information uses a lot of technology. So tonight we are honored to have. This may be the first time he's been in front of the camera in a long time, but we're honored to have Brother Barnar C. Muhammad. He is an information technology consultant specializing in webcast production and IT assisted business development. He has provided a wide range of services, including managing and coordinating webcast services for the Nation of Islam. So, if anybody on here has ever seen a webcast of the Nation of Islam, this is the man behind the scenes. He develops e-commerce and web services for the Nation of Islam and the Final Call. He directed Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, former Congresswoman here in Georgia, District 4, which was DeKalb County. He directed her internet-based campaign outreach and fundraising in 2002 and 2004 campaign. He's provided IT services for AT&T Wireless Decision Department in Atlanta, Wall Street's Bear Stearns, the big boys in New York, and he served as producer and coordinator for 10-10-15 Justice or Else promotional and live webcasts. You want to connect with him, you can reach him via his website, which is Sky Tech Pro. That's SkyTechPro, SkyTechPro.com. Please welcome to Mind and Money Matters live show for the very first time, and hopefully not the last time, Brother Barnar C. Muhammad. Salaam Alaikum, sir.
Hey, walaikum salam, sir.
I hear you loud and clear. We don't see you.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'm in the car, brother. I wasn't able to get it on, but I was able to connect this app on my phone.
Okay,
So,
yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Well, like I said, it's gonna be your first time in front of the camera, and that's when we hear your voice. Well, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Forgive me for that, brother. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
no problem, no problem. I look at it, I'm gonna take it like this, like the minister said, it's the information and knowledge that our brother has that we are so gracious. So on behalf of my Mind and Money Matters live show partners, Sister Shireen and Sister Sandy, and our special guest co-host, Brother Rasool, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your super busy schedule to be a part of this podcast as we discuss the Ministry of Science and Technology, or technology, and how we can benefit from it. So, how long have you been involved in what we call today technology, Brother Barnar?
Actually, I've been involved for quite a bit. I've been involved maybe since I was probably in the 7th grade in school. I got to calculate how long that's been. It's been quite a while though. So that's from the first time my mother. I wanted a game console way back then, but my mother decided.
What was that? What was that? An Atari?
It was an Atari, but she decided to get me an Atari with a keyboard.
Okay.
So I was able to actually get into something beyond the games back then. It's a blessing to have a mother that's to have the insight to do that.
Wow. Look at that. I wonder if she knew exactly what she was starting. But we are, and I want to thank your mother, because what she did for you at that time, it has literally benefited millions of us around the country and around the world because of that spark in you. This this aspect of IT, and you bringing that to the nation, and which has helped us expand and help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's message to be able to go across the globe. I know you weren't thinking like that when you were playing your video games, right?
Oh no, sir.
But the
Praise be
byproduct.
God.
So the transition from playing the games and getting into deciding that you want to do this for a profession and as a business, how did that come about?
Uh, well, I would say, and to your point on the games, I think it's an important note on that is that if we see a younger people mainly interested in games and other entertainment right now in the technology, it's not something to necessarily just take them off from, because that I was in the games and the entertainment part of it for quite a while before I became a little bit more knowledgeable about it. So I would say by the time I was in when I was in college, I think the first time I saw a web browser, I think, was in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I saw it, it kind of blew me away, because I was thinking primarily in terms of how far the nation will be able to reach
Okay.
beyond where we were then. So that's what got me involved actually in the internet, when I first saw that, the first browser. So I was studying computer science at the time, and
What school?
at Morehouse College,
A
and
house.
and at the time they, they weren't really well. I would say that the, since the internet was really a new thing back then for a lot of people, that's not something that they were teaching in schools. So I was blessed to get a referral from a sister, Dion Muhammad, a long time Atlanta
Oh yeah, Dr.
resident.
Dion. Yeah,
Yeah, she.
she's a guest. She's been a guest on our show, and she did some innovative things too
Oh yes,
in the
sir.
tech world. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. And so I was blessed to get a referral from her to actually get me a job with it was Bell South Applied Technology back then,
Okay.
and that really got me started in the consultancy, because I went with the consulting firm. Uh, she was uh, uh, she was a key person in our team,
Right.
and we were really software quality assurance testing. So from there, that was my first consultancy, and I guess during those times, a lot of what you had to do is self-teach yourself. So read a lot of books during the downtime over there and other locations to be able to get into the consulting services. And from there, it just took off. And one of the key point, of course, I would say is that when I first brought this to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, um, he granted me permission to go forward with it. Um, and that was basically the initial stages of what we have with growing with the NOI.org, which was a domain that was purchased way back then.
Oh, in the
To be what it is
90s?
now.
In the
Yes, sir.
90s?
In the 90s, it was after
Wow.
the Million Man March, and that's when it was after that point, and he granted us permission to go forward, and that's all history from then.
Wow, that you heard it here, brothers and sisters, business scientists on our Mind and Money Matters live show. I wasn't aware that it
There we
started
go.
that at that time. You're talking almost 25 years ago. Wow, that's very interesting. And of course, I'm so excited, Brother Barnar, because of too the other innovation. Bringing forth the webcast, that was innovative across the board, and then Final Call Digital are two of the big events that
Yes,
I know
sir.
you had a lot to do with. Do you mind sharing with the business scientists that are listening how those came about?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, I remember I wrote a memo. I forget what year it was, in the late 90s, to the minister, and I was so excited about this new audio video technology that was going to be able to save us thousands of dollars, because we were literally spending thousands of dollars on satellite back then.
I remember
I
that.
wasn't involved in that, of course. I was in school at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
now I was informed, of what the thousands of dollars we were spending, and sometimes we would risk getting cut off at saving
Right.
days. But I wrote a memo back then about this new technology that I thought was going to help us, and I don't know if you remember, Brother Jahi, but Atlanta was the first place we actually tested
I remember.
live webcast.
I remember. We were at the church. We were meeting at that church. Yes, sir. I remember.
And it would have looked like you were literally underwater with your eyes open. That's how blurry it was. But I remember when we first started. But despite that blurry glare, we used to be on a telephone looking at each other.
Absolutely. Yes.
But when that image came on the screen, it was a big cheer.
It was. I remember
from all of us in there to see it.
And look, I don't even remember the blurriness, Brother Barnar. It was just that dynamic. I don't even remember that. I just remember we were like, oh, we can actually see,
Yes, sir.
You're right. Like you said, prior to that, it was a telephone. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
we could see the minister in Chicago live as opposed to the telephone. So that's basically how the webcast started from then. We had definitely come a long way since then, by the grace of Allah. And so that was actually the starting point from then until now. And with the digital edition, it's something that was proposed. I'm not sure. It was some years back, maybe 5 years back. We started on one platform, and we graduated to another. Let me back up to say, when we first started, of course, webcast is the precursor to having a digital edition, and those started with us actually typing articles and post them on the internet. It was a sister, Donna, used to assist with that. Sister Donna,
out of Memphis
Atlanta,
now,
but now is in Memphis, right?
She's in Memphis, yes, sir.
She used to assist with that. A few others used to assist with it, and we were literally typing articles and posting them on the internet, and that was the I guess the precursor with the website. So so now we have with the digital edition is something that really is in high demand in terms of the desire to have something portable now and to go where we are with that technology.
Yes, sir.
And we have a lot of other initiatives that we're working on, with the Final Call is working on, to bring it to the next level from where it is, including the website, the and everything involved with the digital, video, text, photos, etc. So.
Beautiful, absolutely phenomenal. I want to bring in Sister Shireen, and if Brother Rasool is available too, I know they have questions as well, but I must say this to you, Brother Barnar, and I know you don't know this. I never mentioned this to you, but walk back with me a little ways back. I want to say close to 20 years ago. We were at Brother Rashad's house, and there was a big football game. I think it may have been the Super Bowl. I know Brother Rashad had like a little a gathering at his house, right? And somebody had scored a touchdown, I believe. And, everybody's cheering and stuff like that. And you made a comment. You said, what if we did that after we made prayer every morning? Do you remember that?
Man, I don't remember. I don't remember that.
You say, cheering up and down. So ever since that moment, Brother Barnar, every morning after I make Fajr prayer, I jump up and go, yay! Because of that statement that you made. So I've been waiting 20 years to tell you that.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Sister Shireen.
The subtle impacts we have on people.
Yes, that's it.
I couldn't think of the word.
I couldn't think of the word. We had the subtle impact. Right. Yes, sir.
We can't
Okay.
discount
Every
that.
morning
Yes, sir.
for prayer to make
After
sure
prayer, I think about that. Yeah, jump. Yeah. Thanking
That's
Allah. So
powerful.
what do we thank Allah like we, cheer for this foot for a touchdown? So
Wow.
very impactful.
Yes,
Very
sir.
impactful. Sister
Brother Rasul,
Shireen.
go right ahead. You had a question, Brother Rasul?
Yes, ma'am. I do have a question.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes.
What I'm curious to know, because I think it's phenomenal. It's amazing that you were gifted that, put in charge of that at such a young age. How old were you when you actually took that charge of setting this up? You said it was in the 90s. You were in college.
Yes, sir.
How old were you?
I think I know it's in my 20s, early 20s, I believe. Early 20s, I would say. I'm not sure exactly how old I was at the time, but
Wow.
that's the time. Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's a beautiful blessing.
Yes.
Praise be
You
to
also
Allah.
mentioned when you saw your first web browser, you were blown away.
Yes, sir. I
So,
was literally blown away by that.
so now thinking back and looking back on what it was and how it was back then, what are your thoughts about the technology nowadays and how fast it's moving and how our youth are just picking this up and running with it, and what can be done to really hone those skills in the youth?
Well, I would say, well, when I first saw it, I just had I would say my first thought is that this is going to go real fast, because when I know if I saw the potential in something like this, I know others that built it saw the potential in it. So I knew it was going to increase the pace of everything when I saw it, as far as communications. One thing I would say to myself, looking back, as well as others looking at a lot of new technologies that's coming online now, is to look at it as broad as possible, how it can apply to yourself, and of course your community, your nation as well. Because if I was at that time, I wasn't really thinking in terms of business. I was thinking in terms of primarily my first thought, and I don't think, I think it's a blessing to actually use it. My first thought is what impact this is going to have for the Nation of Islam. I wasn't thinking in terms of personal benefit, but I think in terms of business. But I think that goes hand in hand, because business, if you want to help your nation and your community, you can't neglect yourself as well. So
Amen. Amen. That's a
yeah,
truism. Yes, sir.
yes, sir. So if I could look at it back again, I would have tried to apply it broader. I would have looked at the nation, the financial benefits, the communication benefits for the nation, the financial benefits for myself, my community, family, and colleagues, etc. So I would say that to the second point. To go back to the first point, I really saw the potential of it growing really rapidly, because I think it was really I think it was a pivotal moment of seeing the web for the first time. I knew it was in a matter of short time that this was going to reach millions. In terms of, primarily they were using sports and stuff, the first people to jump in on it. But now it's everything you could think of. They got internet and toasters now. So it's yes, sir. So that's I think I answered your question, hopefully.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Now I have a question, Brother Barnar, with regards to our young people today. I am in education, and I'm in a position of inspiring young people to go for their dreams and pursue various opportunities. And it is a struggle to get at least the children that I am around to even get their parents to support the idea of them learning a skill, a trade. They are just bent on the college education. Not that I'm not, but I know that it is important to have a skill in a trade, and that they can find that passion. So what would you say to young people today who are looking for opportunities and think everything is centered around entertainment and actually being the performer?
Yeah, that's a good question. That reminds me of, actually, it's a brother named Cedric Muhammad. He's
The
an economist,
Economist.
and he has
Yes.
a website called the hiphopreneur.com. And he actually, I listened to his video today, and that's one of the points that he was actually dealing with is the movement behind the scenes of entertainment. He was mentioning the whole Jay-Z NFL controversy with Kaepernick, etc. But I think to answer your question, I would say to really try to show them what's going on behind the door, behind the curtain of what you see there, because there's literally thousands of people behind the scenes of an entertainer, a hip hop artist, or a football player, a basketball player. There's literally thousands of people. So I think those roles are not really highlighted. I think youth, even when you know, sometimes they bring entertainers or athletes to schools to have them talk. I don't think I've ever seen any emphasis on the support staff around the all the glitter that we see. So I would say one thing, just one, and then I'm sure there's a whole lot more, but one thing I would say is if we could try to bring some emphasis or bring some notoriety into a lot of the actual labor and work that's going on behind the scenes, behind the curtain. And I think a lot of that, it may not seem as glamorous, etc., but it's actually, I mean, if because I've met a lot of people in those roles and they are really fulfilled by it, and and so that's the way I think I would answer that question, to bring that emphasis to those roles.
May I add something to that, Sister Shireen?
Yes, sir.
That is a dynamic observation, Brother Bernard. Um, like you said, there's so many roles, especially for a major star, a major athlete, a major entertainer. And Sister Shireen talks about this all the time. They are the central figure, but there's at least 100 people, that's working with them, that's making the actual business aspects of what they're doing happen. And if I think if our youth did see that, not only are a lot of them fulfilled, but they're also very well paid too. It's a
Yes, sir.
career. It's something that you
Yes,
can
sir.
actually make a living off of. And the ones I've been around that I've seen, they have what's what I want to say? They get the benefits as well. They're flying on the private jets. They're living in the nice hotels. They're eating at the nice restaurants, and all those other accoutrements of success, and while also working out in the arena that they want to work out in. So that's a good point about so many other people that we don't see, that the average person don't see, that's behind the scenes. And a real quick point to what you're talking about when they showed the picture with Jay-Z and Roger Goodell, there was a lot of people in the room. My question is, who are those people? Who were those people? They weren't just, placement figures. They were there for a reason. They were in that room for a reason. What role are they playing in the bigger scheme of things? But so thank you for bringing that observation to light.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Brother Jahi, brother, our next guest is on and ready to go. If you want to bring him in to join in the conversation.
All praise is due to Allah. We have, as I mentioned earlier, this month we are highlighting the Ministry of Science and Technology. And the thought that I had a few days ago, Sister Shireen, was the technological advancement of the wheel. And I don't know of anybody that has actually expounded upon that when we talk about science and technology. one of the premises that I operate off of is that a lot of America and the Western world's technology advancement came after they studied the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad when they broke in and read the lessons, and they're like, oh, what is this? And some other aspects that happened. So I reached out to our brother, longtime friend of mine, the Money Matters Live show. We have him on about every 3 months to come and share his wisdom with us. He will be in Atlanta this weekend, y'all. So tell your cousin them, your neighbors, get everybody, bring everybody. He will be at Muhammad Mosque, number 15, Atlanta, Georgia, 3642 Campbellton Road, on Sunday. What's that date? August the 24th. August the 24th, I believe that date is. 25th, August the 25th. You can see live and in person, as well as this brother has a podcast that he does because he's a researcher, he's a public educator, he's an author, he's a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So in his ideological and academic arenas, he's both lauded and feared. I think he's made a couple of lists, from the enemy by bringing controversial subject matters to the forefront of public discourse. So whenever he put out his video blog, his vlog, he got tens of thousands of people that are watching it. Along with being proactive in urban agriculture and beekeeping, he has also authored several highly acclaimed books, including UFOs and the Nation of Islam, The Source, Proof, and Reality of the Wheels, which came out in 2013, and Exposing the War Against Islam, which came out in 2017. His research continues to challenge and confound the world's scholars regarding these global issues. So from the Nation of Islam's research department, Brother Ilia Rashad, Brother Minister Ilia, Brother Student Minister Ilia Rashad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, dear family. As always, I'm excited to be here, brother.
Oh, we're excited to have you here, sir. I saw you a few moments ago. Oh, there you go. All right. I was about to say, what happened? Welcome back to Mind and Money Matters Live show. And always, thank you so much for clearing your schedule. I know you got a lot on your plate. In addition to being an educator, so I know you're dealing with that just like Sister Shireen, jumping from that role, taking that hat off and jumping into this one, and before you go into your family mode. So thank you so much for sharing these moments with us. I reached out to you because I look at you as the Nation of Islam's foremost expert on the wheel. I know you've moderated panels at Savior's Day that year when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brought in all of those guys that classify themselves as ufologists, and you moderated a panel discussion with that, and I know you were intricately involved in that. So dealing with science and technology, how does all of that wrap in together?
Sure. First, let me just say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the foremost scholar on the wheel.
Alhamdulillah, I stand corrected.
That's right.
Indeed. But, of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who claims to have met God in person, literally shook up the world of religion,
That's right.
academia, military, technology, all of it. Not just because he said that he met God, but Elijah Muhammad stands very distinguished in that he brought real world evidence that shows that he was acquainted with the most supreme of beings, as evidenced in the reality of these circular planes, which is the product of his God, this one that he met in person. Circular planes that he refers to as wheels, led by a huge craft called the Mother Wheel, 1/2 mile by 1/2 mile. We're talking about planes that were lifted from the Earth's atmosphere in the late 20s and can fly at phenomenal speeds, can exude unfathomable maneuverability and technology that is far beyond any conventional intelligence, technology, aircraft, or military prowess that this world has been acquainted with. And all of this was first represented to the world by a Georgia-born black man.
Come on now. Teach, brother minister.
He met God in person.
I'm supposed to be an MGT.
Now, anyone else making such what would ordinarily seem as outlandish claims could easily be dismissed as a crackpot.
Dismissed.
Could easily be dismissed as a religious fanatic. But what's interesting is that Elijah Muhammad and his Nation of Islam has caught the attention of world governments, particularly the most powerful government in the world, who have admitted that the technology brought by Elijah Muhammad's God is not only real, but they have admitted that it is far superior than anything of this world. So since we are dealing with science and technology, I do think that it is only fitting that we discuss the utmost supreme aspect of science and technology.
Come on now.
That huge wheel and its accompanying 1,500 baby or smaller wheels that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called the masterpiece of mechanics.
Masterpiece of mechanics.
Are you talking about them baby planes?
Man, yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
The masterpiece of mechanics. And what are some of the reasons why he said that? Like the makeup, how the wheels, we don't hear them. They have no moving parts, that kind of thing. And then you talk about the great speeds and maneuverability that this world, they know it, the scientists of this world, but they can't keep up. They cannot keep up.
And they've admitted to this reality. They, to this day, have been wondering what the origin of these crafts are. Now, those who really know, they are very well aware that the God of Elijah Muhammad, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, is the architect and orchestrator of these superior planes. But for the most part, those who don't know are still wondering, from what origin do these crafts come from? Many have assumed, wrongly assumed, that these crafts are of extraterrestrial origin.
Meaning outside of the Earth's atmosphere.
Right. And although they can fly anywhere in space that they want, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated, their origins are actually from this Earth and orchestrated by human beings from this Earth, under the tutelage of this Master Farad Muhammad, God in person. And so this has become a tremendous, major concern, not just of average people who don't know anything, but this is of top priority to the most powerful government and military intelligence of the world, all of whom have admitted and acknowledged, and many have encountered the technological capabilities of these planes that have been reported as interfering with their nuclear weapon sites. These circular crafts that have been reported as destabilizing military communications. These planes that since the 1940s, y'all, have been literally seen and have shut down whole military operations remotely. Like the people didn't even have to step out of the plane and go inside of the buildings or the silos and do anything. They were able to do things remotely you know, as using the technology that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called a radio in the head or tuning in, which the scientists of this world, I think they would call it like telepathy and telekinesis, you
Yes,
know.
sir.
But these are some of the far superior capabilities of those human beings who operate these planes at the behest of God in person. Human beings who the scriptures refer to as angels, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used the term scientist interchangeable with these angels because they are scientists. Those who operate these planes don't operate them by magic or some hocus pocus. They use real world science. It just so happens to be science that is far, far, far superior to anything that has been discovered by this world's conventional intelligence.
Now this may seem like a mundane question, but it's just on my mind, right? Because when you think of a UFO and you think of the persons that may be on it or individuals that may be on it, think of an alien, some weird looking creature without a mouth or without a nose or gigantic ears or no ears, or just looking weird, right? Why is it important for us to know that these beings, that the masterminds behind the creation and the mastermind behind the operation of what is referred to as UFOs, and we know the mother plane and the baby planes, why is it important for us to know that these are human beings and not weird alien looking monster looking creatures? Why is it important for us to know that they're human beings?
By the way, that is not a mundane question. That is an excellent, lofty question. And it is very important to know that those who operate these phenomenal crafts are human beings from this earth, particularly of the original family. Human beings like you and me. They just so happen to have been taught under the direction of God in person since they were very, very young ages, which naturally they would be a little different in their capabilities. But it's important to know this because this gives us clear evidence of our own human potential. Whereas we have been led to believe that our success and our potential as human beings is limited to almost having a good job or making a few bucks, as long as it's in such a way where it doesn't intimidate or threaten the world powers of white supremacy. That's a very, very limited aspect of human scope, But God has come to show us the real human potential, and that potential is that we can become like him. That is God's desire. He came to make us into gods. Now, that language is somewhat offensive to many in traditional religion, particularly the Muslim world, because of their traditional understanding or lack of understanding in some cases of Quran and the scriptures. But the whole concept of God raising humanity is so that we can become closer to him. Allah speaks in the Quran of a day when we will be able to look to our Lord and have a meeting with Allah. How can we come into nearness to him and grow into him if we are not permitted to exhibit some of his magnificent attributes and characteristics?
Come on.
This is why knowing the truth about those who operate these crafts, knowing the truth of the God that is behind these crafts is essentially necessary to know the potential that we all have. And that's why this truth concerning so-called UFOs has been made above top secret by them.
Yes.
Excellent,
Yes.
excellent. I'm so
Hey,
glad you said that, brother.
look at this. Business scientists, this is a piece of what you're going to get on Sunday, August the
Yes,
25th in
yes,
Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm inviting you. We're inviting you. You can be our guest, be guests of
yes.
Mind and Money Matters
You heard that
live show.
from
If
MS.
you need a ride, you within 50 miles of Atlanta and you need a ride, you must call the office before Friday at noon. Call the office at 404-438-3156 and say we need a ride to come to Muhammad Mosque number 15 at 3642 Camilton Road so we can see student minister Ilia Rashad Muhammad. And we can make those arrangements, but you must call before Friday because we got to set things up. So call us before noon on Friday, the 23rd of August. If you got a way there, just come on by, stop on by, 3642 Camilton Road. That's in Southwest Atlanta near Greenbrier Mall. And near Greenbrier Mall. So we look forward to seeing you. Just tell them you heard Brother Rashad on Mind and Money Matters live show when you check in. All right. So Brother Barnar and Brother Rasool, I know you got questions, and Sister Shireen may have some more questions. Oh, but Brother Barnar had to leave. Oh, but Brother Ilia, contact information. Those that want to get your books, your vlog that you have on Facebook, and your writings and all that good stuff.
Okay, thank you. Well, of course, my books are available mostly via Amazon for right now. They haven't banned all of those yet. But you can go to our website.
Well, you will be in good company if they do.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first, right?
Right.
You can go to nationbrothers.com. That's our website. We have some of our resources and some of our videos available. And of course, we're on social media. We have a Nation Brothers Facebook page that we tend to post. And of course, we have our Twitter. Twitter is Nation Brothers, or you can use my name, Ilia Rashad. We have Twitter and Instagram accounts. So we try to make, I try to make myself available, and we try to make much of our content available through these various social media platforms while we can still use them. Because look, they've banned some of my videos already from both YouTube, and they recently gave me some kind of tag on Facebook saying that one of my videos violated their hate speech policy. But, you know, the devil's going to do what the devil is going to do, but we just have to make sure that we keep truth going. So those are the main avenues whereby
absolutely,
and our resources.
Excellent. So you
great.
see,
Brother Rasool, question, Sister Shireen.
now I was just going to reiterate what he said. You see the page. As I'm sharing the page, you can see nationbrothers.com, and that's where you can get a plethora of information and get caught up, be not only informed but entertained. As you can see, our brother is always smiling. If I had to ask the question, I'd say, what puts that smile on your face? Is it the information that you have in that cap of yours? But go ahead, Brother Rasool. Did you have a question? You on mute, beloved. Let's see. Okay, there you go.
You on mute? All right, Rasool, back on the road again.
Yes, sir.
We are headed to the field. But so Brother Ilia, I just wanted to know, what is the significance of the wheel being built or put together? I believe it was in Nippon, which is Japan. And the fact that right now they're one of the most technologically sound cities or countries in the world. But what is the significance of it being built there? I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are on that.
Thank you. I think I was able to make out the question. Part of the significance, I believe now, and it is my understanding that a large portion of the wheels manufacturing took place in or near Japan. And I've actually heard that other parts were partly constructed on other parts of the earth. Part of what we could do is possibly speculate. You know, I don't know all the details of Allah's purpose and plan for using that part of the world and that geographical region to construct such a magnificent masterpiece of mechanics. But I did notice that in that region of Japan, or Nippon, as some would call it, there's a set of islands and a water area that they call I think the Devil or Dragon's Triangle or Devil's Triangle or something like that.
Yes, sir.
And it is a geographical area of tremendous, I don't want to say, a lot of strange things have happened there. A lot of missing ships, a lot of missing airplanes, where some scientists believe it's some type of electromagnetic pool that has caused navigation to be altered in that part of the world. And I've speculated that that may have something to do with why the wheel was constructed in that part of the world, to be constructed in a place where it could be shielded, if you will, from a lot of outside forces, where the rest of the world would not know what was going on, you know, while God was doing his thing. Because remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in one of his early articles that it took about 20 years, I believe, for the wheel to get built. And we know that it launched in the year 1929. So you're talking about 2 decades of diligent work taking place that was done, and the rest of the world had no idea what was going on, you know?
Yes, sir.
Even those who were participating in its construction were not aware as to the ultimate goal of this awesome project. Many were just workers who were doing their respective roles and jobs. They just were paid to do their job. They didn't know what the ultimate, you know, objective would be. Only Allah and the select few of his scientists or angels who working under him were privy to the ultimate aim of this awesome project. So I think that geographical part of the world and its, I'm looking for the right word. I don't want to say eeriness, but even some mystery, if you will.
Right.
You know, not easily. And if you consider the time with some of the wars, well, not the wars at the time, but just some of the other things that was taking place in the world, some of those caves and things like that in Japan, in that area, you know, was not necessarily just bringing on the world's attention, if you will. So there's a whole lot of speculation as to why Allah chose the different places that he did for the construction of this mother plane.
Wonderful. A question I have for you, Brother Ilia. Based upon your research, what are some of the advancements that we see now, especially in the West, that you can trace back to being influenced by what the scientists of this world extracted from the teachings of the Most Honorable?
Okay, can you hear me? Because the last part, I think you went out. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah. For some reason, people calling me between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock on a Monday. It's only been 4 years, right? But what are some of the technological advancements that we can directly trace based upon your observation? And this last point I want to make, that Sister Shireen close us out, is and I sent you this information. I want your take on it. Part 2 of the question. Your good friend, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, he is taking over the world, right? The Amazon of everything. He has his hands in everything. Amazon patent an idea where he wants to have a floating warehouse that is posted, in a certain region that stay there, and then have these drones that will take the product from that floating warehouse, i.e., mother plane, and deliver them to the constituents. And they plan to be so big, they're not even worried, right? At this point, not necessarily thinking about the drones coming back, but they will always supply the floating warehouse with drones. When I saw the diagram, I'm thinking, okay, they've been studying the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because it is the mother's wheel concept in full effect. So your take on that and other technological advancements that you have observed that can be traced back to the teaching.
Yes, indeed. It has been well acknowledged by business leaders, by military intelligence, by technological leaders and organizations that the presence of UFOs have been a driving force in reverse engineering technology. You gave an example of Bezos and his plans and desires to have, for lack of a better term, a mothership with baby plane drones to deliver things. Where did this concept come from? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that when the FBI arrested him and the believers, part of one of the things that they confiscated was his illustrations and documentation regarding the wheel. In fact, he acknowledged that the FBI admitted to him that they saw the wheel, they know that it existed, and they questioned him about the wheel. So much so that they literally went to the mosque and confiscated the very blackboard that had his drawings of the wheel on there, along with other documentation. And it's no doubt that this teaching and these illustrations concerning the wheel have been a primary source for much of the technological advancements in the world. So much so that people like John Lear, whose family is responsible for the Lear jet.
Oh, wow.
John Lear, I think his father was Bill Lear. These are some decorated, not only in the business world and technological world and in the aircraft world, but also even in military, very decorated. And John Lear literally admitted, and this is in the book along with several other citations and references, hundreds of them. John Lear admitted that his father and his family's work of the Learjet is largely due to their observation of UFOs and attempting to engineer it. He stated that this was the attempt to reverse engineer what they observed from UFO. I think he used the term alien technology, but he also admitted that this UFO or alien technology is just millions of years too far advanced for us. We just tried to take what we could from it. And this is a common thing. And there's several other business professionals who acknowledge that this boost in technological advancements, especially stemming from America, is directly related to the advent of the UFO phenomena, which was introduced to the world by the Nation of Islam.
Come on now. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Sister Shireen?
Being text.
Yes.
Yes, responding. I'm just excited that you were able to come on and share. I'm excited about the opportunity to share with our listening audience the advantage to knowing the truth to realizing that, the devil is a liar and that he will keep that information from us just to keep us down. So knowing, I always like to share that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was up to his eyeballs in mud, to remember, we like to think of the Christ as always being up on that, in that pinnacle state. Like he had to get there. He had to come from somewhere, and we too could come from where we are and elevate ourselves, inshallah, into God-like state, right? That's our potential, as you spoke about that potential. And so I am grateful for the opportunity to have you on the show to share over and over and over again. It's not, I don't think we can exhaust it, the knowledge of the UFOs and, what it can do for us. Because my biggest question is, now that we know, what do we do with it? Do we just hold and have knowledge and become informants and just inform, or do we have an ability to become a knowledge able and do something with the information that we have? So that would be my question that I would love to hear you answer. How do we utilize the information that we have? Once we know this is in fact true, what do we do with it?
Thank you. I'm reminded of words from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, where he said in the Theology of Time lecture series, he stated, "I just want to teach you science." He even stated that he was somewhat grieved over that because he wants to teach us science. Even what seems to be religious type teaching that he gave us is not really religious doctrine. What he offered us and what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is offering us from him is direct revelation from God, in which is science, high supreme science. And so those of us who are adherents and Muslims and believers and followers, we can't be like conventional religious folk and, believe for believing's sake or believing for tradition's sake. That's not the mind of a scientist. You see, we really can't even take full advantage of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad if we approach it like religious folk. We have to approach this magnificent wisdom of God that is still being given to us through the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. We have to approach it as scientists. How do scientists approach things? They look at the laws of cause and effect. They apply the wisdom. Sometimes it takes experimentation.
Come on now.
You have to, as the minister put it, rise above emotions and can't make decisions based solely on our temporary moods or feelings, but really to use a more practical, cognitive force that will allow us to grow really higher into the mind of God. So this wisdom that we have, really, we're not taking advantage of it as we could because of how we approach it. There's a reason why in our lessons in the supreme wisdom, we are given problems and lessons where we are expected to solve problems.
Right.
Is a mathematical scientific theology that we must use, you see, and apply in order to secure benefit. If we are not securing some type of benefit, then obviously we're not approaching this with the right scientific mindset. So I think that we know we have the right teaching. We know that the teachings are really 1,000% correct.
That's right.
But how will we take advantage of it? Are we going to continue to be just believers in the sense that I just believe? Or are we going to start working some of these problems? And then remember, and I'll end on this note, the lessons tell us that rewards will be given to those who solve these problems in the neatest and best manner. So not only are we expected to solve these problems ourselves, but we're expected to do it in a very neat and effective manner. That's a scientist right there. So let's on that scientific mindset, and I guarantee you, we'll start to do something.
Excellent, excellent. Now I want to close out on this note, right? I like to write children books, and so I'm curious to know how you approach this with this topic with your children, particularly when they're young. Like I write particularly to the between the 4 and 8 year old, of course, give or take, comprehension, and I try to use imagery that is appealing to the baby, where they can actually see it, because they need to see the bold, bright colors and stuff like that, right? So I'm just curious to know how you approach this topic with your children, particularly in that age range.
Yes, ma'am. What I found in discussing and presenting on this topic over the years is that young children, in my humble judgment, they grasp this concept better than we adults. They are the ones who light up and gravitate and have really the best questions concerning the wheel. The little ones, the babies, the little bad ones that be in the malls running around all the time. They know that, and we got them at every mall, they're not bad, but for lack of a better term, we call them the bad Muslim children, But they really, really gravitate toward this wisdom. And you don't have to get super deep. We're taught to speak straight words. Young people, 4, 5 years old, they can grasp the concept that people, very smart people, can build some superior planes that God put them up to. See, we the ones that normally use that spooky language, and we confuse the hell out of our babies. Again, we're using that religious, spooky kind of talk, But remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants to teach us science, and he wants to make us scientists. And that scientists, he also used interchangeably with gods. All the gods are scientists. So in order to make us God, in order to become godly, we have to take on that scientific mind. And it starts with giving straight words, actual facts. You don't have to sugarcoat too much. And them young children, they get it, man.
Excellent, excellent. So, okay, I'm gonna make this be my last question.
You good, Fishery?
Right, I'm gonna make this be my last question. Again, I'm still focused on the children, right? So focusing on the children, looking at their love to be in that imaginary world and make and create things, and so in your view, what do you think? As we're in science and technology, and I'm prayerful that we are talking to future engineers or present engineers who will engineer apparatuses or games or things for our young people to have some mass to be able to play with. As we are taught, Master Muhammad was playing with 2 magnets, right? Where they can play and learn and enjoy the process of learning how something like this can be built, how something like this is possible, how to develop into becoming that scientist, that God. What would you say to the developer, the engineer, researcher?
Even if we are short on resources, and Lord knows we are, none of us have $1 million like some of these institutions where they can just give hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, go do some research on this. we don't have those kind of resources. But what our children have is a natural creativity and curiosity. And what we have to do, and it's not that easy. It hadn't been for me, you know. We have to, even though we may not have the resources to give in all these areas, we have to give them, in a sense, room to do some experimentation of their creativity. But even as they go and experience their curiosity and creativity, they still have to understand that there are natural laws that guide everything. That's where that mathematical mindset has to come in at, you know. Children like jumping off the steps, you know what I mean? Especially if they know you right there because they think you're going to catch them. Well, that's a sense of creativity. It's risky, but it's a sense of creativity and curiosity that they do. But they, at the same time, have to learn that there are some laws called gravity. Because if daddy or mommy not here to catch you,
you're going to hit your head.
Hurt yourself. You know, so it's about allowing room to be creative without stifling their creativity. And I look at myself as a parent, my children, even now, very creative, but because I've been such a, you know, a sheltering, protective kind of parent, you know what I mean? A lot of the questions and things that they want to do, I like shut it down, you know. But in some cases, you know, I think that I could have, you know, stifled certain creative things. You know, it's just a parent in me, you know. Look, I balance. Part of me is a scientist, part of me is an overprotective parent. You know? So we have to get
the struggle for balance. The struggle, we all deal with it. The struggle for balance. Yes, sir.
It is. You know, but giving room that breeds creativity. And I don't want to take too much time, but I notice when I observe, you know, the work atmospheres of these big tech companies like your Googles and Apples and those very successful companies.
It's freedom.
Yes. It's a very creative environment that is not anything like traditional corporations. Because what they are doing is they are providing an atmosphere or room to breed creativity, to share ideas, to collaborate without the restrictions of, you know, do this, do that, you know, like school does. You know, that's what, unfortunately, public school tends to do that to us. So again, providing room for creativity along with making sure that we instill the natural laws that have to be built upon in order to merge that creativity and law, put it together to produce a magnificent product.
Excellent. Thank you
Fantastic
for sharing that. I want to just interject one thing. Minimum resources, room is a valuable resource. So when you so that when you said that, I just thought, well, that's a resource, you know, to give them that space, that room to be able to be creative. Thank you for sharing that. Brother Rasool, did you have any last questions before we close out? I see him there. He may be frozen. So anyways, I think we're done. Brother Jahi, what you think?
Oh, it has been absolutely phenomenal. Want to thank Brother Rasool Muhammad, the coordinator for the Ministry of Science and Technology here in Atlanta. Please come out on Saturday to the event with the drones that Brother Rasool has. And you can go to, do you have that address up, Sister Shereen? I haven't changed the page. I know it's in East Point.
Yes, it's at 2719 DeLowe Drive, East Point, Georgia, 30331. That's
all right.
2719 DeLowe Drive, East Point, Georgia, 30331. It will be an absolute phenomenal opportunity for your children as well as yourselves to participate in science and technology as individuals are availing themselves. There is a $10 donation.
But
However,
don't let that stifle you. Yes.
donation. If
Mm-hmm.
would like to contact or get more information, that number is 404-514-7816. For more information, 404-514-7816. You can also go on Facebook, Global Apprentice, or globalapprentice.com to get more information on that. So praise is due to Allah. Is there anything else you wanted to
Oh,
share?
Muhammad Mas number 15.
Yeah, you
Muhammad
did.
Mas number 15, Sunday, 11 o'clock a.m. Sunday, 11 o'clock a.m. Muhammad Mas number 15. Our special guest will be Brother Student Minister Ilia Rashad Muhammad. He's coming from Memphis, the double nickel, the 5-5, with his family. He's traveling with his family this weekend. So come out and meet and greet our dear brother and get more insight into the subject matter that he so graciously shared with us here today. Brother Rasool?
Yes, briefly, just wanted to clarify. It's globalapprenticeship.org.
Oh,
Dot
There's
dot
org.
org. Pardon me. Pardon me.
.org. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I did have that up. Um, I'm so used to saying .com. So yes, 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 yes. So you
Globalapprenticeship.org. Thank you.
globalapprentices.org, and if you just go to the contact page, of course you can leave your information on that, on that contact page. You can type in a message, what have you, and get
Just call me
information.
direct.
So take advantage
Right.
of awesome opportunities. I love the program. It's absolutely beautiful. Apprenticeship is definitely a great opportunity for young people to learn a trade, a craft, to get their businesses started, things like that.
And we also want to, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
I want to thank our other guests as well, Brother Barnar C. Muhammad, the IT guru and the designer of the platform for finalcall.com and finalcalldigital.com for sharing that history with us this evening. So we had a phenomenal show. Thank all of you for watching. See, we had quite a few people in the Zoom section, as well as watching this platform on YouTube and on Facebook. So please share the content, help us hit that 1,000 subscriber mark by September the 13th, 2019. And so we can get the word out about these phenomenal people in our midst. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week, same time, right here on Mind and Money Matters live show. And inshallah, we'll have our Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad,
Yes,
the ergo-kinesiologist, back with us next week. She's a hard-working sister. She has several projects going on, so she's meeting those deadlines. So inshallah, she'll be back with us. We have a brother who is in the IT field that will be with us next week, Brother Ken Hilliard, and as well as a couple of more guests next week. So please tune in, share, let everybody know. And if you need to contact us, you have questions, you have suggestions for future shows, you can email us at mindmoneyshow, MINDMONEYSHOW, mindmoneyshow@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. That's it for us. So you see Brother Rasool is out there in the field. We're about to go join the rest of the FOI and get this word out about our brother coming to town, as well as this dynamic newspaper, the Final Call newspaper, saving lives and making our community a decent place, a safe and decent place to live.
that's right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Work
salam.
it
That's right.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Salam.